everyone. This is a bit of business on behalf of learmedia.tv and the British and Irish Trading Alliance. Welcome to the show. My name is John Fitzgerald. Joining us today are very special guests, Sandy Donnelly and Paula Ruan. Great to see you both. Sandy is the founder of DBC Health Retreats and the newly established Women's Warrior Network. Paula is the founder of Virtue and is also a highly qualified stress management practitioner, and both are strong advocates for female empowerment. Our theme today, ladies, is healthy living, and that's a topic you're both expert in, so let's kick off. Sandy, your overseas trips to sunny climates and exotic locations with DBC Health Retreats are famous. However, they got hammered due to COVID restrictions and lockdown, etc. But I'm delighted to see that they're coming back, and I know that you're doing a very nice Seven Sisters Cliff Walk in October, so people can look out for that. However, you've also recently founded Women's Warrior Network. So why now for WWN? What's your mission, and what response have you gotten so far?
So good morning, John and Paula. So Women Warriors Network, it just came about through the pandemic when my health retreats were put on hold due to restrictions on travel, etc. And this really it's my passion, the passion for the healthy living. But my other passion is female empowerment. So I love people, I love connecting with people, and it's something I just want to do for some time, but I kind of guess never got round to it. So it's a perfect opportunity, lots of time on my hands. Just basically set up Women Warriors Network in March. So it's very, very, very new, very fresh. And I expected, I just wanted to invite a few speakers, 3 or 4 speakers, global speakers, UAE, Monaco, Jersey, UK, wherever, but they were the predominant areas I was focusing on initially. Invited 4 speakers, and I was hoping to get around 20-30 people who would be interested. And then to my delight, there was like 350 or so at the first at the first event. Then the next one, it was 600, 700, 800, and then over 1,000 was the last one. So I was absolutely thrilled, because not only was I connecting with these, as I always say, they're ordinary but very extraordinary people, I was engaging with this huge big audience, on topics which are very valuable at the moment, which people have a great interest in. So I personally was loving it. For me, I was just getting a lot out of it. But then I also knew it was becoming a bit of a platform to allow female entrepreneurs, CEOs, whichever level, they're at, to give them an opportunity just to put themselves out there, put them on a stage as such, and let them tell their story, just over a few minutes, and then engage with other people in the same position. And it just gives people an opportunity to connect, contribute, and develop relationships which may be out of their realm at the moment, and it's just expanding quickly. So the mission, basically, I think, is just to continue and grow it even bigger. But also eventually, when we can, is actually to hold the events in these different countries, just to travel to these countries and bring it to life as such. I'm very grateful for the virtual platforms at the moment, like we are doing now, because it's something we may not have been able to do, or we would have been so much forthcoming in doing. Whereas now it's just gave us all a lot more opportunities. So onwards and up.
Very good. And what have you learned along the way, Sandy? And are you glad you did it?
I've learned that there's a lot of people out there who are in the same position and may not know what to do. What can I do? How do I connect with these people? So I've learned that it's actually quite simple. If you're quite a nice person and you're friendly, you can make these connections quite easily. If you go in driving with a big sales pitch, I think we all go, oh, hold on a minute. Actually, it'd be nice to get to know you. And then let's see, what do you do, and how can we how can we develop this, in some way? So I've always said it's a great way to network on a professional level, but then also if a friendship comes out of it, a win-win.
Yeah, and clearly there's a thirst for this, Sandy, given the progression and the number of people that have attended and signed up. So you've identified a gap in the market very clearly, and you're now filling it, which I think is absolutely fantastic. And you've created that safe environment for people to join and have the conversation. And Paula, coming to you, I understand that you founded Virtue to attract and encourage women to look at big picture issues during their sustainable journeys for personal and professional development. And a similar question to you: what was your motivation for creating Virtue? What's your mission? And are you happy with the response that you're getting?
Thank you, John, and congratulations, Sandy. It's very exciting what you're doing, I have to say that. My slant really was, because I'm a resilience trainer, stress specialist, I've seen the connection between increasing levels of stress linked with our entry to the virtual world and leaving reality really behind. And, talking about health, we eat food that's been processed, which is not really 100% natural. This is wonderful. And I love Zoom, and I think I'll never, ever go back to 100% face-to-face, but within moderation. And so Virtue really was an attempt to bring back an awareness about what is on our doorstep, and to reconnect people, to try and encourage them to think about things differently, and not just plastic waste, not just the sea. It's every aspect of our lives really that's bound up with nature. And the more we can reconnect, then the better for everything: people, planet, profit. So that was my driving force, and I absolutely love it. And I have such interesting speakers like yourself.
Well, you also talk about your own childhood, Paula, and the proximity to the countryside, the way foods were packaged, how you purchased foods, all of that good stuff. Could that be making a comeback now as we see much more focus on sustainability, climate awareness, civic pride, all of those good things? Can you see a change?
I can, and we can thank COVID for that, really. When we went into the very first lockdown, the 6 things that people loved was not doing as much and not feeling guilty. That was number 1. Clear skies, hearing the birds, meeting their neighbors, and having more family time. And, that is really a step back pre the advent of Facebook and the other incredible number of platforms there are these days. So yes, and people are now buying products loose, and they're taking back the same containers to reuse. The supermarkets are going to get rid of plastic wraps on sandwiches, 600 million a year, for example. Just these little bits, we can all do something, and it is returning, and it's about learning from the sort of older ways, but at the same time using today's technology to make it better.
Old is once more new. And Paula, I think it's fair to say that people's stress levels have increased over the last 18 months. And I'm talking about, obviously, COVID, lockdowns, lack of family connectivity and being able to see loved ones, lack of professional face-to-face contact, lack of travel, not being able to go on holidays, et cetera, et cetera. What are the impacts on people's lives now that you're seeing as we emerge from the COVID crisis and lockdowns?
I think there'll be a lot more sort of minor illnesses, because any challenge we face, we fire on all cylinders naturally to get us through it till we get to a safe haven. And now coming out of lockdown is sort of return to safety, because it's more familiar, more what we know. then that's when people tend to go down with bugs. It's a bit like leisure sickness, you know. You work right up till midnight to clear the desk, get on the plane to go away. Not Sandy, of course, but very often people start to develop a sore throat. They're in bed for a few days because the immune system then takes over to deal with the stresses internally when the stresses of external are over and we sort of reach safety. So I don't think we'll truly know the full extent. I think the biggest impact will be on the young and the children. You know, we are naturally herd animals. We want to be with each other. That's how we've, you know, come into today's society with, you know, this group support, some good at one thing, some good at something else, the team effort, the herd. And they are the ones that are very badly affected. And of course, because they're always online, seeing what their friends are doing. And, you know, I think it's the children we really, really need to keep our eyes open for, and help has to be given to them.
So I want to come back to that in a couple of minutes, Sandy, because that's a very interesting topic, the younger generation, the impacts of all of this. So let's park that just for a second, but I want to come back to Sandy and ask the same question. You know, on the fitness side of things, what impacts have you seen, and what do you think the implications of this lockdown are going to be for people's fitness as people emerge from it and perhaps try and get back into some sort of more normal type of fitness regime or healthy living to some extent?
Pre-lockdown, pre-COVID, you know, life, gosh, when was that? It seems a long time ago. Obviously, people had their little routines, get up, go to work, you know, if they do a little bit of fitness, whatever. And so for me, my health retreats abroad in sunny climates were always a place to re-educate, reboot the mind, body, and the soul. And I feel what COVID has done now, because what people do is they step out, they come out to my retreats for a few days. They have a digital detox, not fully, but semi, you know, in comparison to everyday life, because people get a bit panicky if they don't have that phone. But it's like, look, we'll have a few hours, leave the phones down, you know, so we're detoxing the body and the mind, you know, with a whole cleanse by hiking, just Pilates. And what I feel with lockdown then, people were stuck. We were stuck in this environment. So even with BITA, you know, Paul Whitnall, he'd set up this great program, which included, you know, myself, John, you know, a few of us anyway. And we were, you know, getting together 3 times a week. And for me personally, it was great just to get up, have this bit of routine. We discuss something healthy, have a hot water and lemon, do a bit of exercise, you know, a few of us together. And I know this is the way a lot of people did suddenly say, okay, actually, I'm at home. I've got no choice. There's no gym. I'm not going to an office. People bought, you know, fitness equipment at home. They watched online fitness. Some may have followed programs, some not. So the implications you're just saying about is, I think you've got one side of people who are not going back now to the gym environment. You know, they don't want to pay their hefty gym memberships because they've actually discovered a way that actually I will go for a walk. I will get on my bike in the house. I will do my bit of exercise. They've established a new routine and a lot more healthy outdoor living, which I think is very, very, very important. But then you've got the other side, people who may have let their kids stay on games all day just to keep them quiet and get them out of the way while they're maybe busy working. So, you know, not even that I'm being strict on those parents. I don't know. I've got grown-up children. I didn't have to deal with the homeschooling and trying to work and all of that. So there's 2 sides. People have learned how to cook again, buying fresh produce, starting from scratch, because we did have time. We had time on our hands for the first time in so many years, which has been wonderful. And I mean, for me, I'm always so busy, I'm rushing around. And then suddenly it's like, well, actually, I'm not that busy, really. You know, I do have time to do these things and just reset ourselves and a bit of a kickstart. So implications on some, we know a lot of people gained a good few pounds or so, and you hear this constantly, you know, it's the COVID lockdown, it's the lockdown bit of weight I've gained. But then you had the other side of people who just got stuck into it, got into a great routine, maybe started running, maybe started, something new that they wouldn't have started. So I think I wouldn't say there's an equal balance, but I definitely say it's not too different on those who went for the healthier living and those who maybe hit the bottle a little bit more often than they maybe should have done, because people were drinking at home instead of going to bars. And so, yeah, I think there's a mix, to be honest.
And I think COVID-19 as well named, and it could relate to the 19 pounds all of us have put on during the lockdown. Now, I'm not saying, but I certainly feel heavier during lockdown than pre-lockdown, because you're right, you're just less active as you would routinely be running around all the time, 5 days a week, and it's just not happening now. So there are some specific physical implications. But let me come back to the point you made earlier, Paula, about the younger generation, because I'm very interested in this. And I'm thinking specifically, lots of our business audience have kids and they're interested. And obviously, we all want to look after our kids. But focusing on those that have just come through A-levels, GCSEs, BTECs, etc., Paula, what challenges are you seeing with this group, or have you heard? And, after what has been a very, very tough year for them, and what are the repercussions from remote and isolated learning during what really are very formative years for that particular group of kids?
Yes, I don't work deeply with children, but I do work with their parents. And a lot of children are concerned that their future has been jeopardized because their whole focus has been on their A-levels or GCSEs. And very few parents can stand back and take a very pragmatic view about it, because there is so much about qualifications moving forwards. With younger children, I think these older children will find it easy to get back into the swing of things. It's the little ones so I've got one granddaughter who's 3, so half of her life has been in lockdown. So that has become normal for her, because before that she wasn't as cognizant. And we took her to the beach at the weekend, and she was quite fearful of the crowds. And, I think that is the thing that has come from lockdown loud and clear. Our young people are fearful. And because they are online a lot and they see news a lot, my other granddaughter, who's nearly 7, all she could talk about was the animals who are suffering because of climate change. So they are bogged down by grown-up worries, I think. And I think it's everyone's possibly collective responsibility to lighten it up for them, to allow them to be children, and to encourage more childlike activities, like, as Sandy said, being outside. I mean, do you have a children's boot camp, Sandy? I mean, that sort of thing is just wonderful, with nature trails and learning to recognize different wildflowers, for example. Anything like that to just switch the focus and the attention, because they are easily distracted, the smaller ones. But Sorry?
I did a couple of family ones before.
Yeah.
And so it's basically where the parents are like, I don't know what to give them to eat. I don't know what to do. So we sit down and we cook with them from scratch, very simple, delicious recipes. So even sweet treats, which are, all just very natural. And, and parents like, okay, and it's like parents need a bit of re-education also, and children alike. I mean, I think what was nice to see, I think, online. So yes, there were a lot of families, and weather-wise, whatever, they were stuck indoors, so trying to occupy kids, all day long. But then you got a lot of, bike sales were up. roller skates,
Yes, that's true.
the old school things
Yeah.
that people
Skipping.
use, skipping, the very simple, as you said, going on little trails. You could see so many little families doing different things to get their children out, you know, and I loved seeing that myself. But I think on the other side, as you said, we took my granddaughter, who's 2, to just a lavender fields, pretty lavender fields with sunflowers on a few days ago. Sorry, I'm aware of time. And she was very fearful again, and she does go to nursery because her parents both work full time. But again, it was all that I'm scared. It's like, how do you know what scared even is now? You know,
Yes.
but it is that just new, different environment, because again, lockdown's been her whole life. But anyway, sorry, John, I'm aware of time, so I'd go on and on too. So
that's great stuff. But I mean, I guess the logical next question, because I'm very interested from your both of your perspectives, Sandy from a sort of a healthy living perspective, Paula from a stress management perspective, about as we move forward here to understand the trends that you're seeing in healthy living and stress management in a post-pandemic world, and what new technologies or techniques are coming our way to help us live better and cope with stress a little bit more effectively. So maybe Sandy first from a health and fitness perspective, and then over to you, Paula, from a stress management perspective.
I think for you know, the coping with stress, obviously you need to come on one of my health retreats, and then, you know, I'll sort you all out completely head to toe. So, but no, but well, that is a serious note. But on the stress note, I mean, I'm very fortunate I've got a very positive outlook on life. I always have, even if I'm sad and I have a little cry, I do wear my heart on my sleeve. My emotions are always, they're just up front. I kind of say it as it is. But obviously there's moments, you know, we're stressed, and I can feel stressed as well. But there's that whole, you know, we've got the breathing techniques, very simple breathing techniques, just to calm, think about it. It's not as bad as it may seem, you know, the overall outlook. I think there's a lot of different ways we can deal with it. And it's just learning to re-educate again ourselves to be able to coping mechanisms on a day-to-day basis. And that might be easier said than done, because I cope quite well in these situations, but I know a lot of people who don't. But I like to speak with people because they say I don't know how I can have a calming effect, because I've always got like this energetic mindset. But it's like, actually, no, I feel a bit better now, probably because I'm ranting on about other stuff and saying, it's going to be fine, everything's okay. Not in a crazy way, but in a way, I'm a great believer. Things happen for a reason, and we will overcome it if we really want to, if we've got that mindset.
Paula, from your perspective, same question about the new techniques and technologies that are coming our way to help us manage our stress a little bit more effectively.
Yes, so there's a lot of new science emerging about fight, flight, freeze versus rest, digest, feed, breed. And that's the polyvagal system, which is a new emerging science. So I teach techniques where people learn to self-regulate. So we all are triggered. It's automatic. We can't stop it. But in the moment, I have techniques which have biofeedback, so you can actually see the immediate improvement. The other thing I have is a virtual well-being roadmap that now shows people where stress impacts different parts of their body, mental clarity, and it's very, very high tech. The system's been around since I've been using it since 2007, but now it just comes via a 10-second voice scan. So this is fast and very, very ideal for signposting people, so they can see then maybe they do need to go on one of Sandy's retreats, or they do need to tweak their diet, because it shows the stresses and how it impacts digestion, sleep, focus, concentration, so on. So they get a picture of where they are in that particular moment and what could possibly be causing it, and also signposted to better help prevent it in future.
This sounds like something from Star Trek, Paula, and very.
I am Star Trek. I look like Mrs. Tiggywinkle, but I'm Star Trek.
Fabulous. I mean, what a useful tool to give insights and, as you say, signpost to to help people manage and navigate a little bit more effectively. But conscious of time, Sandy, I'm going to come back to you, and I want your top 3 tips for healthy living, please.
Good diet. We've got to have a good natural diet. That's definitely number 1. Active. Be just even 10 minutes active on a day-to-day basis. And take time for yourself. Just take a bit of time out, even if it's go for a walk, sit in a corner, look at a tree, do whatever. But, just take a minute to take a few breaths and take time for yourself.
Very good. Paula, top 3 tips from your perspective for stress management.
Drink more water, go to bed an hour earlier, get up half an hour earlier, go for a minimum 20-minute walk in the morning where the light is better for your little inner battery.
Oh,
very, very good. So ladies, how can people get in touch with you? Sandy, you and your DBC Health Retreats and your Women's Warrior Network, how do people reach you?
To be honest, Women Warriors Network is all on LinkedIn. So if anybody's connected with me, Sandy Donnelly on LinkedIn, you'll see my Women Warriors posts are always Wonder Women posts are up there. And the DBC Health Retreats are on Instagram or dbchealthretreat.com.
Very good. And Paula, how do people get in touch with you if they want to join your Virtue Network or hear a little bit more about that Star Trek technology we were talking about?
So Virtue is virtue.info. And there's information there about our speakers and what we do. And my own business is paularowan.com. I've made it easy for people.
Very good. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's the show for today. Sandy, Paula, thank you so much for joining us. Your added value insights, as usual, I should say, will help us all to be a little healthier and manage our stress a little bit more effectively, I think. Folks, this has been a bit of business. My name is John Fitzgerald. Thank you so much for joining us. All the best for now.
Thank you.
Thank you.